The Epic Adventures of Eman and Jazz. Once upon a not so long time ago, a man with no future, or so he thought, made up his mind, I have to do something with my life. Seeing no end to his situation, he used his courage and started university at Athabasca to upgrade his person's value. Jazz had a friend he met at work, Eman. Together they started a friendship that would grow into a brotherhood. Seeing Jazz's hard work and dedication, Eman thought to follow in Jazz's footsteps. And one night, driving back home, while saying their goodbyes, in the distance, a dark shadow obscures the moonlight and spews a liquid on Eman and Jazz's path. In a swirl of uncontrollable skid, Eman and Jazz fall into a vortex. The in-between. Upon waking up, Eman and Jazz finds themselves in the dark. Suddenly a light pierced to the darkness. In the midst, the dark creature from before casts its shadow upon our two friends. A deep and powerful voice speaks. I am the one. Man, can you lower your voice? Silence! Jazz gets tased by a bolt of lightning. Eman looks at Jazz with fear. Eman speaks to Jazz. Jazz, do you not see the size of that thing? Shut up. The one speaks again. You have been chosen to restore balance. The bad is taking over the good. An entity is taking over the other world. It has a perfect and direct impact on the world you come from. Jazz interrupts the one. Okay, but Jazz gets tased again. Seriously, dude, shut up! The one continues. The one decides to zap Eman, giving him unimaginable powers. Jazz is jealous. Jazz exaggerates. Wow, you're bigger. You want a medal? Eman and Jazz start to realize and think about what's to become of their families. They imagine the worst. They won't have any work, no time, and they'll have to eat from the garbage. They burst into tears and fall on their knees. The one is cold to their feelings and zaps them into oblivion. The other world. Jazz wakes up. A sandstorm is coming. But Eman won't budge. Jazz carries Eman tirelessly. And as he finds a shelter to a cave, he enters. Upon entry, Eman wakes up. Jazz decides to explain how they got there, and suddenly, in an instant, they are surrounded by strange dark monsters with shark teeth. Eman grabs one of the creature by the leg and rips it apart. It's like paper! Jazz dodges and runs around trying to survive. He gets bitten. Jazz is angry. Very angry. Jazz explodes of anger. The creature disappears. The journey. Eman and Jazz travels to a distant source of light. A large bridge entrance appears in the horizon. And as they approach the bridge, a giant statue stands still. It doesn't move. At all. I'm sure it moved. Man, seriously, did you not hear the guy? He says it doesn't move. You're dreaming. In a fraction of a second, the giant slams his staff on the ground. An intense tremor follows, shaking our friends. You shall not pass. Jazz makes a joke. Yo, Gandalf, get out of our way. Jazz, do that thing you did in the cave. Jazz tries and tries. But the giant grabs Jazz. The giant starts to squeeze. Eman panic. He punches the giant's parts with all his might. The giant releases Jazz. And the giant is surprised and in pain. Eman and Jazz takes the opportunity and runs to the bridge. They journey to the source of light. And as they approach, they see a giant sword. The sword vibrates as they approach. In the sky, an entity speaks. "Do not touch this sword, or you will feel my wrath. For I am the enemy of light, and I will not hesitate to destroy you." Jazz gets annoyed. "You serious? The sword is bigger than me. Are you stupid?" But Eman seems hypnotized. Half his body is trying to go to the sword, even though his legs are going front. Eman grabs the sword and pulls it out, and a strong light takes over him and surrounds everyone. Once the light dissipates, Jazz's eyes starts to try to adjust. He sees a leg. Then he looks up. Eman is tall. So tall! Jazz is jealous. The enemy speaks and cannot contain his anger. "You were warned, little mortals, for I am the destroyer of worlds." And he unleashes a flock of monster birds that descends from the sky trying to kill Eman and Jazz. Eman and Jazz fight and fight as they can. With one swing of his sword, Eman kills some birds. But Jazz is panicking. He's got hundreds of more birds after him. He dodges as he can, but he gets scratched and poked over and over. The birds overwhelm our friends. And suddenly Eman raises his sword to the sky, and he's tired of the birds. And he says, "By the power of ground skull, I have the power!" He points his sword to Jazz. A beam of light engulfs Jazz, and he transforms into a bird. Jazz starts to cry. Jazz is very upset. "Are you serious, man? You couldn't do better than that? I'm a bird! A bird!" "I'm sorry, man. I couldn't do better." Jazz flies towards the flock of birds. "You really think a tiny bird can..." And suddenly Jazz rips through the bird. Eman Jaws falls down. He can't believe what he sees. Before man can say anything, Jazz goes through the other birds, and all the birds start filing from the sky. Jazz rips through all the birds as they were blocks of butter. Jazz flies down and goes to rest on the rock. He transforms into himself again. And as Eman and Jazz start to celebrate their victory, the enemy says, "You will pay for this!" Roar! The enemy giant hand starts to approach our friends, and suddenly a light emanates of nowhere and all becomes silent. Jazz wakes up in a hospital. His wife and child are relieved he's waking up. Jazz explains his dream to his wife, and suddenly he hears a sound on the other side. Seems like there's another bed or something. A man jumps from the other side of the curtain. "Yo, Jazz! I had the same dream! Exactly the same!" They look at the camera. "Ho!" The end. Forgive my honesty, but I feel ready. Deep inside of me grows an entity, a piece of me. Changes come, so let it be. Personal growth grabs you by the throat. You gotta abide inside with the ride. A rider of sorrow casts its shadow when you follow. None told you to go, you gotta make a decision and grow. For the choices you make, you get what you get. A constant reminder of the terror humans harbor.